Hello, welcome to my live stream. Today I'm going to be recreating some old art of mine that I did about 5 years ago. Here's the old art that I did. It is a kingfisher bird, and I did it on black paper, on black Strathmore paper with Prismacolors. And 5 years ago I was still in high school, or I was in early college. And I've progressed a lot since then, so I just want to see what the same kind of picture, same kind of bird will look like and turn out like now. So please join me. And I'm going to be doing some walkthrough stuff and kind of explaining the decisions that I've made and some other stuff that I've learned over 5 years. So there is that. The new image that I'm going to be using is this right here. I think you can see that the image was taken by Sandor Bernath, and I think it's an excellent picture. I just really love it. So, first of all, I'm gonna get everything set up here. Okay. So what I've done so far is I've been sharpening my pencils that I'm going to be using. You can see all of them right here. So I've basically gotten the different colors that I think I'm going to be using. And what's really important when working on toned paper like this is that you make a test sheet. So what I'm going to do right now is quickly just make some swatches using the different colors that I think I'm going to be using, and trying to identify what parts of the bird I think this would work well for. So this is a Faber Castel blue pencil, phthalo blue, and it's not as bright as I want it to be. So this is the hard part about working with toned paper. But you see this Prismacolor pencil comes off very vibrant and very nice. So I think I'm going to be probably using this for the majority of this drawing. This is a Prismacolor, doesn't have like a color name, 305. Sometimes it's nice to kind of label them and stuff. This is a very dark purple, and I don't think you can really see it, but I use this kind of for, instead of blacks and sort of inside the eyes of animals. I think it works pretty well. Another Faber Castel. This is Helio Blue Reddish. This will be nice for some shadows in the feathers, I think. Copenhagen Blue. Ooh, that's really nice and dark and rich. Okay, so far I'm liking the Prismacolors for the colors that I'm going to be using. And I kind of go back and forth between Prismacolor and Faber Castel. I started with Prismacolors originally, and I really like the vibrancy of them. However, I think that Faber Castel has better cream colors and whites that go on a little bit better than the Prismacolors. Alright, I'm just going to finish this up really quick. I don't think I really need to test the whites. Maybe the oranges would be good to see. Ooh, wow. See, orange and yellow can be really difficult to show up on black. This is the 18. Prismacolor. I have another Prismacolor pencil here. See, the yellow does not go on that well. Jaune Soleil, Sunburst Yellow. So that's okay. It'll be good for highlights, but probably what I'll end up doing is combining that 18 orange with some white to make highlights instead. Here's a nice yellow, which actually might take the place of the highlight, Jasmine Yellow. Cool. All right, and then I just have some browns and grays over here to kind of help round out the other processes. But I think those are going to be my main colors I'm going to be using. Just so you can see, these are my little color swatch palette. Awesome. Okay, so another important thing I wanted to go over was the type of eraser that you use. I think it's really important when using toned paper that you use a black eraser, not a white one, because the white ones can actually scrape away some of the pigment of the paper, which I think is weird. So yeah, so that doesn't really take away much from the paper. So toned paper, especially Strathmore paper, which is my favorite, is really delicate actually, and it can be scratched, dented, kind of ruined quite easily. And so the best practice is to use a black eraser, as well as drawing very lightly on it with the pencil that you're going to be using just to outline. So I just have a 2B pencil right here that I'm going to be using. All right, so I think we're going to get started here, and I'm just going to move everything so you guys can actually see what I'm doing over here. I'm going to make these birds a little bit smaller. Awesome. Okay. So I'm going to open up a bigger version of my bird picture so I can see it. Awesome. Hello, Blood Wolf. Steven, I think. Cool. All right, I think I'm ready to just start sketching here. I usually start with the head. I'm trying to figure out how big I kind of want this drawing to be. I think the beak will kind of come right here. The head will be about here. The body will kind of curve that way. Okay. Oh. So here I'm just kind of drawing the crest of the head here. It's important to draw really light at this stage, or else you end up kind of denting the paper, and it's really hard to erase that on the black paper, because you'll still kind of see the part where you erased. Even if you didn't indent it with the pencil, the eraser can still make marks. So very important to try and pay attention in the beginning stages. And another thing I like to do is sort of outline where I think the colors will sort of be. Let's see, trying to get the angle of that beak. Cool. Okay. I don't know if you guys can even see that yet. It's very light. So after I initially draw the pencil part, I'm going to go in with kind of like a white or a light gray, kind of outline it so you guys can kind of see what I'm doing a little bit better. But for the stage, I just need to be kind of cautious and make sure things are in the right place. Another thing that's really important when drawing with fur or feathers is to make sure that you are being true to the direction of the feathers or the fur. So a lot of times I'll sort of like outline, maybe not even in pencil, but in like colored pencil, which direction the feathers are going. Okay. Okay, I think that's actually pretty good for what I'm trying to do. I think I'm going to wait and put in the branch later. Maybe I'll just do like a little branch, just at least right here. Okay. Okay, so now I'm going to outline really lightly so you guys can kind of see what I'm doing finally, right? Cool. There you go. So, come on, focus. Okay. So here I go, kind of outlining the bird, just to kind of finalize where things might be. And there's like some direction for those feathers a little bit. quite white right here underneath his chin, so I'm just gonna, that could be a little bit darker and more pronounced as I go ahead. I'm going to switch to a light blue to outline. I'm streaming. What do you want? So hopefully this is starting to look like a thing that you guys can actually see. Alright, now I'm going to switch to an orange to kind of quickly outline the orange areas. A little bit of orange kind of peeking out over here, so I'm going to make sure not to forget that. And then mostly it's underneath the eyes right here. It's a little bit of orange right there. Okay. I think I'm going to need a different color that I haven't brought out yet. Just so you know, to look for a color, this is what I have to go through, you guys. I think I found it. It's kind of a reddish brown, Tuscan red. Okay, I will keep that over there. Alright, I think I'm just going to start diving in with the blues. Starting maybe with the head. Throw away, wait, what? Get the fuck out. Tasty McGee, welcome, welcome. Ugh. Pencil is breaking, you guys, this is terrible. Bear with me. I was using the really dull sharpener. This is what was happening. Much better. Do I use white last? I try to use white sparingly because it can get kind of very flat if you use too much white. So often I use sort of off-whites, but whites are really important when doing toned paper because if you don't put a white down first where a white has to be, then there's no way you're going to get that vibrancy of the white later. So if something's like actually really white, like the parts like under his chin, then I'm definitely going to put that in white first and then kind of tone it down with some like browns and some yellows. But normally I do white kind of last to make some like final highlights, but kind of like work it in. It's going to depend. I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. But I do know I will be starting with these Prismacolor colors, which you can kind of see. I think I already showed you. These are these ones right here. Yeah. I think I will start with the dots on the bird's head a little bit. Just a little bit. Just to make sure those white parts get put in there, because like I said, if I don't kind of like pre-put in some of the white, sometimes it will not register later, because you can't really put white on top of color that well. And erasing color on toned paper can get really messy. So I already said in these kind of guidelines, if you can sort of see, so I'm going to try to stay like kind of true to those of where I think the ends of those feathers might be. But at the same time, I'm not trying to be completely photorealistic to this photo. I've done this enough where as long as you're sort of drawing in the right direction with the same kind of gist, like you don't need to be photorealistic to make it look good. So again, I'm just kind of priming some of these areas with some highlights first, and then I can always go over them with a color later. Hello. Hello on the Twitch stream. Welcome, welcome. My name is Kathleen. Nice to meet you all. Cool. All right, now that I've sort of primed the head with some highlights, now I'm going to start going in with my blue, and I can kind of see that it's a little bit green actually at the beginning there. So I might get kind of a foresty green color. Just kind of lay in some of that. Oh no, you guys. I picked up a Crayola. I should just throw this away. No, go away. I'm trying to do real art. Okay. I found a really small Prismacolor that I have to sharpen for this green undertone I'm going to be doing. And remember that Tuscan red I found earlier? I think I'm going to put some of that into at the base of the nose. Yeah, no, Crayolas are not real, you guys. Don't even keep them. I should just throw it away. You totally botched colored pencils on black medium. Why do you think that is? I would love to help you. Okay, this doesn't have to be too sharp. So, I'm just gonna kind of prime this with some green, again working in the same direction as I've sort of set the feathers. Great, that's probably enough green for now, just to set like the base color, and then I'm going to go in with that Tuscan red. Great, I think that's all I'm going to do for now. Can always go back and sort of put in some darks. Right now I'm just kind of working on the highlights of stuff. Wow, look at that. It just comes to life like so quickly. So I can kind of see that the blue kind of trails off of the white, if that makes sense. You say that you treat it like paint and layer too much. No, you can't really layer a whole lot, especially with toned paper. You have to sort of go about it a little bit more strategically, and like sort of like I did here, is place those whites, or else you're never going to get those whites again. And just sort of do things in stages. So don't try to do everything at once. Like I kind of went around and put in some highlights, and then I'm going in and now I'm putting in some blue, kind of roughly. It's important not to overwork areas, especially in the beginning. Because it's really hard to erase well once you've gotten to a certain point. So you see now I'm kind of going back again with some white on top. I see that there's some detail, kind of like some small detail at the base of this nose over here that I didn't really get to yet. Okay, I think I'm going to start going with a darker blue. Which one did I want? Yeah, it was this one. Maybe it wasn't that one. Yeah, it was this one. See, all the Prismacolors right now are working the best for the tones that I have. But like I said earlier, I kind of like Faber Castel recently for certain things. As you can kind of see, it's a lot darker kind of near the back of his head than it is the front of his head. Some ways I went about that were using less dark pencil, using the lighter pencil over here, kind of this color. And another way is to just let the black work for you. Let the black come through and just, you know, let the negative space do a lot of the work for you, because that's really why I love toned paper, especially black toned paper, because I feel like it's just so much easier in a way. Like I feel like I definitely paint with light instead of painting with dark, and I feel like I think it's called additive color. Yes, additive color. So I'd rather paint with highlight than paint with blacks and darks on white paper. Does that kind of make sense? And that's why I really like the process. Yeah, so if you're more of an additive painter, artist, I'd love to hear why you like it as well. Okay, I'm gonna try not to fuss with that top too much for now. I don't know if you guys can see this that well. So I'm going to I think you guys can kind of see it. Let's see, is it? All right, let's keep going. You agree? Tasty McGee. It's totally different. agree. And another thing I've kind of always been taught by art teachers or just artists in general say, you know, don't even use black in your drawings. And so I feel like this is sort of a way to get around that. So it's almost a way of training myself not to use black pencils is using black paper. Because the black paper isn't even all the way black, right? I mean, it's not like black hole black, right? It's probably like 95% gray. And so what's interesting about that is almost nothing is that dark. And so it kind of trains you to have to, you know, think in more, you know, in more color variation instead of contrast as your way of making things look different. Yeah, I just think it's a great practice, honestly. I don't know why more people don't draw with toned paper. So I'm going in here and just kind of putting in a couple shadows. The dark also kind of works as like a directional line a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna stop fussing with it too much. This is only the first layer, you guys. You can always keep building to a certain point until it's all pencil, because you can only really get maybe 2, maybe 3 layers of pencil on top of each other opaquely. Or else it just starts to become kind of waxy and unworkable. Yeah, it's not paint. You can't just keep going on top of it forever. Okay, so I think I'm gonna this is kind of my more teal color I'm going on with. It's kind of a cute little feather that's right there. I'm just gonna make sure I don't forget. And what's kind of interesting about these feathers on the back is that they're very vibrant blue sort of in the middle of them. So what I'm going to do is actually just take my white, kind of an off-white, and just sort of figure out where those spines of the feathers are. And this will be sort of my guide. Because you can color on top of these, which is fun. So that white will become a blue, but it will become a vibrant, you know, like whitish blue. Does that make sense? So this is sort of like what I'm going to be doing. Again, not an exact science of where to put these. I'm just kind of trying to fan from the center point kind of outwards. Trying not to overcrowd at first, because you can't really take these back, right? Looking more at the length and number of these spines or feathers in the back is more important than the actual placement of them. So now I'm just going to start going in and kind of filling them out. So what I'm going to be doing is from these feathers, I'm going to start kind of starting from the line going outwards to kind of make it look like that spine, that white line is the feather, you know, it's the middle of the feather. And don't feel afraid to press pretty hard with these when you're just sort of outlining that feather shape, because it's really going to define that shape. Because you can always sort of lightly go on top and sort of retone things a little bit, but that shape needs to be kind of well established before you do that. And honestly, you guys, this is already way much better than 5 years ago. Oh my god. At least here's hoping. I need to change my Twitch title here. It wouldn't let me do it earlier. Okay, here we go. Is the top right image from 5 years ago? Yes, it is. Indeed. It's not terrible. It's not. I'll show it to you kind of bigger for a second. So that's my 5 years ago picture. Already way much better. Which maybe my camera isn't capturing that, but like there's definitely an improvement happening. I'm thankful for that, because why else would I be doing this if there's no improvement, you know? Okay. Gonna continue filling out this back here. Yeah, I decided to do this stream today because I was on Facebook and I posted that picture 5 years ago of me doing it. So I was like, oh, perfect timing to redo some old art, which I've been meaning to do, and I figured might as well do it like on the anniversary 5 years later. Like, how cool is that? And so I'm 24 now. So I was 19 when I drew that first picture that you can see. Another tip I'll say is try not to just lay in color like a solid block. Try to really think about what direction the feather or the fur is going. Just kind of shade in that direction or fill in that direction. Don't just go in and be like, this whole thing's blue, and just, you know, go in and then tweak it later, because it's really hard to tweak it later. Another thing to consider is keeping your pencil sort of sharp, especially with, God, I broke it again. Keeping it sharp makes the fur look a little bit more defined. So if you're doing it sort of fuzzily, it's going to look fuzzy. One thing I dislike about Prismacolors is that the lead breaks like no other, but it's like worth it. What's harder, fur or feathers? I have much more experience working with fur because I did a lot of dog and cat portraits. I would say fur is probably easier, just because it can sort of change direction and it's a little bit less precise, but with the feathers, like they have an origin point somewhere on your arm or on the wing, you know, they have to go out in a certain way, and then the feather pieces have to come off of that stem like I was working on here in a certain way. So it's a little bit more precise to do a bird, I think, to make it look right, I guess. At the same time, with fur, it can almost be like too freeing if you're just like, oh, I know how to paint fur, and you just kind of do whatever. That's not really the best practice either. So, I don't know. My vote is for fur being easier, but that's just because of more experience painting fur. The struggle of keeping this pencil sharp. Okay. So it's a little bit looser here at the top, which is kind of nice. I'm just sort of going for it a little bit. So what I'm kind of doing is laying in this main blue that I've been working with, and that's going to kind of set the tone of the texture. And you can kind of see like cross-hatching here. What I'm doing is sort of making that illusion of feathers sort of being a little bit looser and kind of spurting off in all directions. Yeah, so it's pretty dark here up here, so I'm just going to kind of leave that for now, and I might go in with like a gray and sort of define that a little bit better. I think right now I'm going to define some more highlights. A little bit more highlights in there, just because I can't help myself. And then I'm also going to start defining some of these feathers individually a little bit better. So I can kind of see that there's some really pretty detail happening on the left side of the bird. So I'm going to try to sort of set up my bird a little bit not the right way, but I'm just going to kind of go for it and make this kind of curving pattern happen. And that'll be my second tier. Okay. So I see that this is kind of like that. Just kind of like little balls, and then it kind of trails off like that. Awesome. It's a little bit more subtle, the bottom version of that, but still sort of the same idea. And I'm going to lay in some of these highlights over here on this side of the bird. It's a little bit softer light over here as well. Doesn't have to be as well defined. Great. Okay. So now that I've sort of defined some of those highlights that I'm going to be doing, make me stop, guys. Keep doing it. Keep highlighting forever and ever. Okay. I'm going to stop highlighting for now. So now what I'm going to be doing is keep going on with that blue. I mean, the blue forever, really, with this post. So I can see some of these feathers are quite flat, so I am going to kind of just lay in a base color of blue, and it does get kind of shaded up there, so I'm just going to leave that for later. Alright guys, it's kind of coming together now. I'm pretty proud of it. Just gonna keep trucking along with this blue. I think I might switch to the teal color I have here, the 305. Just gonna lightly start defining some of these feathers. Maybe put some of that teal in the bigger feathers here at the end. Okay. Okay, I think I'm going to go in with some, a little bit of darker shades for most of this stuff over here, especially on the right. It's quite dark over here. Hello, Erica Spring. How are you doing today? I really like what this gray, warm gray has been doing for kind of the depth up here. Now I'm going to kind of go in and define some shadows a little bit better. And how I'm going to do that is I have an eraser. It's okay to use a white eraser if it's somewhere where you're going to still have colored pencil or if it's part of the drawing, but really if you're trying to correct mistakes kind of outside of the work area, it's really best to use a black eraser. I'm glad to hear that you are doing good, Erica Spring. Thank you for joining today. Alright, I think I'm going to go in with some whites underneath the chin here. This is a cream, I think. This might just be white. It doesn't say at the end. Yes, it does. White. It's just white. Alright. This is a Faber Castel pencil. I'll add a little bit of tone and color to this, make it less so just white. There's also a lot of white coming out right here. I'm gonna add some of that brown tone to it. I'll even erase a little bit of it, create some more shading, and then go in again with a sharp pencil. I'm pressing pretty firmly here to get that white to kind of show up. All right, I think it's time to start adding some orange. Start balancing out this picture a little bit. I'm just kind of using that same Tuscan red to kind of add some shadow there. And I guess there's some orange underneath this blue piece too. Now that I've kind of added it, it's a little bit too bright. So again, you can just kind of go in and erase it, and it becomes kind of a duller, darker color of what you're trying to do, which is exactly what I want. Cool. Alright, so that orange is a little bit bright. So I'm just going to go in and not quite fill it in with the orange, but fill it in with this yellow, which also kind of acts as a highlight and neutralizer. Alright, I'm starting to get to my favorite parts, which are the beak and the eye, which are definitely the parts that make the drawing seem complete and real life. Just going to fill in those feathers real quick. Then I'll be getting to the eye, and I'll do some other touch-ups, and then I'll be done, I think. Hello, Cardall. Are you gonna also do a old art remaking challenge? That sounds awesome. What is sitting in your garage waiting to be repainted? Alright, I will touch the blue again in a minute. Oh no, first I want to do this. Put some value for these orange parts with my Tuscan red. And then once I touch that, now I have to go back and put in some more orange on top of it. Great, okay. Now I'll stop. I will now do the eye, which is my favorite part. So you have a manila portfolio somewhere with old art? Definitely, you should take that out and redraw some of it. Just for fun, even if you're not an artist now. You did Gull from Street Fighter? That's awesome. Okay, I'll stop messing with the other stuff. Okay, I will finally do the beak. Yeah, you definitely should hang your old art on your wall as a reminder of how far you've come. Good memories, hopefully good memories. Now I'm going to get a darker gray, sort of go in here and tone in some of those other parts that still need to be sort of highlighted. I mean, they're not black, so. And I think I'm gonna put in some blue too. I think that would be really nice. Like a dark blue, that's kind of how I shade a lot of stuff. So I'm gonna take my dark blue, just sort of lightly lay in some color. What I also like about that, other than leaving it black, is that it gives it some tone, at least, so it's not the paper texture, so it definitely stands out as being part of the drawing. A little bit more 3D, if you will. You stopped drawing because of crappy tablets? I will show you my crappy tablet. Probably not as crappy as a 90s tablet. You guys, this is my bamboo tablet. It's terrible. And guess what? I'm getting a new tablet tomorrow! It's happening! I'm getting a Wacom Cintiq Pro, which is like professional tablet. Like that tablet that I have right there, the bamboo, is 10 years old almost. Like 2007, 2008, we're talking. And I didn't really use it back then. Like I took it for granted, I guess. But I've been super into digital illustration recently, and I'm just like, well, the 2008 tablet does not cut it. So basically spent all my money buying a new tablet that arrives tomorrow, and I could not be more excited. It is the one with the built-in screen. Like, what? I can't believe it. It's happening. It's not the one that's a computer. Hey, mocap. It's not the one that's a computer, but it's the one that's still like professional, and it has a touch screen. It's actually a screen that you draw on. It's amazing. And it's the 16-inch, and it's a 4K resolution screen. Of course, I plan on having it for at least 3 years from now, so like, might as well spend the money on the bigger, better, most current version. Definitely going to be worth it. Alright, I need to kind of finish this up in the next couple of minutes. Alright, so I'm going to finish up the eye, or actually just start the eye. It's a good place to be. The eye is definitely my favorite part. Awesome, I really like that. Okay, now I'm going to add a little bit of blue to the eye. Awesome. And then let's do a little bit more around the beak here, a little bit more definition. There's like a little white patch right here. And then I'm just gonna put in a little bit of ground. Obviously the tree here. I can always go back and make the tree a little bit better pronounced, but awesome. Okay. Fill in this top wing a little bit better right here. What I kind of like about these kingfisher birds is that they have like these tiny little bodies, but like these big heads and beaks. I just think they're super cute. So now I'm just going to go in with some quick finishes of stuff. Basically some filling in of color that needs to be filled in real quick. Some shading, making those stems of the feather blue like they should be. I think I'm going to go in with a shader. You can kind of see when I go in with that dark shade, it kind of brings out all those highlights that I did earlier. Makes everything a little bit more defined, which is kind of funny because you would think that drawing on top of things would just kind of muddy it up, but if you do it lightly, it works quite well. I'm going to do the same thing, but with a light color. Go on, make sure that that middle section of the bird is really popping. And there's a little bit of kind of brown or red, I would say, kind of coming out of the top here of the bird, which will sort of help it stand out from the background. There's a little bit of brown in his beak as well. Just gonna go in and tone that up with some brown. Oh, that looks good, okay. Okay, I think that is going to be it for this drawing, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to be posting the before and after, like a high resolution picture of it, on my Instagram and my Facebook. My Instagram is at kdarbyart, the same on Twitch, not the same on YouTube, but I'm also going to be probably uploading a speed video of this on my YouTube, so you guys can kind of see how I did this a little bit faster. I might also talk on that video a little bit more about how I constructed this, so people don't have to watch the hour live stream. Yeah, so I actually really liked how this turned out. I'll bring it up here. It's a little bit difficult maybe for you guys to see. No, come back. There it is. Cool. So 5 years later, this is what it'll be. Thank you everyone for joining my live stream, and I will catch you later. Please subscribe on Facebook, on Twitch, on YouTube, on Instagram, on Twitter, all the things, literally all the things. So that's where you can find me. Thank you for joining my live stream, and I will see you all very soon. Peace. Bye.